Keith.
Yeah, hi guys, how are we doing? Welcome back to another video on the channel. As you can see, I'm here in the Stade Veledrome, or the Orange Veledrome as they call it here in Marseille, ahead of the next Champions League game for Newcastle. Of course, they play Marseille here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock local kick-off time. We've just heard from Eddie Howe at his news conference. You can probably see the players training away over in the corner behind me there. The good news is that Anthony Gordon has travelled. He is part of the squad. He's getting put through his paces. The bad news is there's no Kieran Trippier here today. Of course, he missed out at the weekend due to what was described as a hamstring injury. Eddie Howe says he's not sure how long he's going to be out for, so he has not travelled. Emil Kraft is back in the squad and I think has a chance of starting here tomorrow night. I think Eddie Howe will make a number of changes for the game. I don't think he'll make wholesale, but I can see a handful of changes ahead of this match tomorrow, because he needs to rotate ahead of another important game against Everton here on Saturday. Games coming thick and fast. He's just said inside at his news conference he needs to use the squad, and I think he will do that. Of course, Dan Burn is back and available after suspension. I'm pretty certain he will come into the starting 11. Will Sven Botman play? We must wait and see. Of course, he was left out on Saturday. Malik Chow did so well. I've just spoken to him inside at the press conference just now, and I said, look, how did it feel to shackle the best striker in the world? And he said, look, I'm a confident player. I'm even more confident off the back of that now. So great to hear from Malik Chow and Howe ahead of tomorrow night's game. Look, I've spent the day here today speaking to a lot of French journalists, and clearly, without doubt, it's Mason Greenwood who has to be stopped. Yes, Aubameyang plays centre forward. Remember, of course, he made his first ever appearance in the UK in Heaton Stannington's ground in Newcastle. He will start up front, I reckon, tomorrow. But it's Mason Greenwood who will start wide on the right. He's got 32 goals in his last 50 games, or not his last 50, in his 50 games here. Joint top scorer in France Ligue 1 last season, alongside Ousmane Dembele. He's got 11 already. He's in red hot form. I've been watching some of his goals inside there, and he is a man to be stopped. And Eddie Howe hinted at that inside his press conference. He said, look, he is the main guy that we need to stop. So yeah, it's the first time he's played against an English side after leaving Manchester United a couple of years ago. He's been here for just over a year now, but it's going to be tough to stop him. He is a top player. But what a place this is, the Stade Veledrome. Incredible stadium. It'll be a brilliant atmosphere here tomorrow night. And for me, look, Newcastle could almost get the job done. If they manage to get 3 points here tomorrow night, that pretty much gets you through in the group, and I think you can sort of rotate and rest the rest of the campaign. I think a draw would be a great result, but you need to try and keep the momentum going after the weekend. You don't want to come here and take a hiding, but suddenly this game doesn't seem quite as important as the one against Everton at the weekend. It'll be interesting to see how much he does change Eddie Howe ahead of the game. I've come inside here into the inner bowels of the Veledrome due to the fact we only get a certain amount of time at the training session, and that was up, so back inside again. So yeah, look, I do think he'll make changes. I don't think it'll be wholesale, but I think it would be silly just to go with the same starting 11 when there's arguably a more important game against Everton at the weekend. You know, I mean, a draw would be an incredible result for Newcastle tomorrow night, but if you were to lose it, it's not the end of the world given the start you've made to the Champions League group. You know, you'll beat PSV in the home game, fancy you to get something in Leverkusen. But then on the flip side of that, if you play a strong side, or as strong as you can tomorrow night, you pretty much get through to the next round. That would then mean that, you know, in the Leverkusen game in a couple of weeks' time, with Sunderland away at the weekend, you could rest players for that Sunderland game, and you could sort of almost just like not so much toss off the Leverkusen game during the week, but you could just kind of make life easier for you in terms of team selection for the Sunderland match. So it'll be really interesting to see what Eddie Howe decides to do. He said also he's got a big decision to make on the fullbacks. Of course, Hall and Livramento played so well, didn't they, on Saturday? And you know, Newcastle just look a different, more dynamic team with the two of them at full back, bombing forward. But you know, it's only 3-4 days later. Is he going to be able to start the two of them again? He said, look, he's going to check on them overnight. It's a big decision he's got to make, but he's got to protect the players as well, and he's got to look at the long-term future here of the team to ensure that the players are strong and fit and robust enough moving forward. So just listening to him, my feeling was that at least one, maybe both of them won't play. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Emil Kraft. I wouldn't be surprised if Emil Kraft came in and played full-back tomorrow night, and then maybe right back, and then Tino Livramento started at left back. I think I'd be surprised if Lewis Hall started again, I have to say. But look, there's players there to make changes. Voltemad could potentially step out for the first sort of hour and come on later on. I wouldn't be surprised if Gordon, they could potentially start Gordon through the middle. And then in midfield, you know, I wouldn't start those three again. I wouldn't start Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton. I'd bring in probably Ramsey and or Miley. But let's wait and see, because of course he's going to want to have the momentum from the win at the weekend, that feel-good factor. If you do chop and change too much, it can kind of disjoint that situation as well. So it's a really big decision I think he's got to make in terms of team selection. But look, it should be a cracking atmosphere tomorrow night, and yeah, it's just Newcastle. You know, you've done terrifically well in the Champions League so far, and long may that continue. So it's been amazing to see how well the Champions League campaign's going. But yeah, obviously the league hasn't been great. The hope will be that win against Man City on Saturday, and how good it was, will be the springboard moving forward, and just give you that platform to go and build on. And I promised I would let you know who that was. With the Newcastle team, and it's Sam Alabi, the 16-year-old central midfielder who's been elevated to the first team squad by Eddie Howe for this game. Quite a feather in his cap, the youngster, alongside his peers, training this evening inside the Stade Veledrome. It's the UEFA Youth League tomorrow, close by. Newcastle playing Marseille in that, but Alabi will not be playing in that game because he is here with the first team and training here in the Stade Veledrome this evening. I'm told he played the second half against PSG under-21s on Friday night. Looked really good, midfielder, and he's impressed enough to be elevated up to the first team pool. And look, what a moment for him, training with the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali and Nick Voltemad, etc. Tonight here in Paris. So there you go. There's a little bit of team news. So obviously he's done something to impress Eddie Howe, because it's a strong position he's got two players for every position, 6 for 3 in that midfield. But youngster Sam Alabi, 16 years old, he turned 16 in July. He is with the first team squad, an England under-16 international, and a chance for him to impress Eddie Howe. So okay guys, that's it from me inside the Stade Veledrome this evening, as we get set for Champions League Matchday 5 here tomorrow. Cheers.